Welcome to the Motherhood Alliance podcast, the podcast dedicated to empowering moms and families on their health and wellness journey. I'm Brittany Suttner.
And I'm Andrea Rinkus. Together, we're here to explore holistic approaches that go beyond conventional medicine.
Each week, we dive into topics that matter most to you. Everything from nutrition and mental health to alternative therapies and natural living.
And whether you're a new mom navigating the early stages of parenthood or a seasoned pro looking for new ways to support your family's well-being, you're in the right place.
Even better, all of our guests are local small business owners who you can actually talk to and work with. You can learn more about today's guest and connect with hundreds of other health and wellness professionals through our informative and easy-to-use directory at motherhoodalliance.com.
Before we get started, keep in mind that this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personal healthcare advice. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any changes based on the podcast content.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Are you ready to help your family thrive? Let's get started. Hi, we are Britt and Drea from motherhoodalliance.com, and we are excited to welcome you to a 4-episode series with Corinne Zuleger, a certified brain health trainer, neuroencoding specialist, advanced certified trauma practitioner, John Maxwell leadership team member, yoga instructor, and empowerment coach. Additionally, she is trained in subconscious and hypnosis work and serves as a licensed teaching partner with Empowered Living. Corinne's coaching approach is rooted in her signature framework, the 6 Anchors of Wholeness, and she specializes in helping moms and women who feel overwhelmed, disconnected, or unfulfilled, often weighed down by guilt, perfectionism, self-doubt, or hidden grief. As you'll hear in her episodes, her mission is deeply personal, which is why she is so passionate to help women break free from negative self-talk, past traumas, and anxiety over the future. Outside of her coaching, Corinne hosts the Secret Keep Hers podcast and cherishes time spent with her husband of over 30 years and their 3 grown kids. We hope you are ready to learn as much as we did from Corinne. Let's jump into today's episode.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Motherhood Alliance podcast. We're back here with Corinne. These last few episodes have been just super mind-blowing, I guess, especially like if you haven't thought about the negative thoughts in your brain or just rewiring it, or that, you can get out of that pattern of thinking too. With this episode, we're going to kind of get a little bit more specific, talking about mom brain. We often hear this terminology and we kind of blame it on a whole bunch of different things that we're going through as moms, but is that really a real thing? Is this something that we really do, or is it just an excuse? Like, what is this?
No, it's real. It's real. Very real.
Yeah.
I can remember having moments where I felt like my brain fell out. And if you have teenagers, you may have witnessed this as they entered puberty. So just like when a teenager enters puberty and their brain becomes focused on the hormonal changes, the prefrontal cortex, the front part of your brain, your logic thinking part of your brain, kind of switches off and it focuses on the hormones. So in mom brain, we have different hormones that kick in and kick out. So we have estrogen and progesterone, oxytocin, there's prolactin and cortisol. Okay, so your estrogen and your progesterone, those things help mood and memory, your neural connectivity. And then oxytocin is your bonding hormone. Prolactin helps produce the milk. And then cortisol is what this elevates you to keep you aware, right? So like, so you can hear the baby when the baby cries and you're not sleeping through it. But what can happen is that the body is so focused, right? It's so focused on everything that it takes to be the mom that it's not in its like executive function. This is why it affects the memory portion. Your executive function might go down, and then there's the parts of mom brain that come in that are like, when you become a mom, you have increased lists of things to do. And I was like, at our house, I was like, if you didn't write it down, it's not
Oh,
happening.
absolutely. 100%.
And that's simply because your estrogen and your progesterone, those levels are fluctuating so much to accommodate, during the pregnancy, after the pregnancy. It can take years afterwards for the body to recover, the female body physically and hormonally.
I kind of giggle a little bit because by the time you get it figured out, then you hit perimenopause. So
yes, that I'm on the other side of menopause. So that's a whole nother show we can do. Okay. Because I can teach you a thing or two about that.
That's a good point, Drea, because as you were just talking, Corinne, I'm like, okay, you're saying that it can get better, but I don't know if I seriously
have
feel
mom
like
brain now with almost teenagers. Almost.
I do feel like with my first pregnancy, I was working in a corporate job that was very attention to detail, spreadsheets and all this other stuff. And I feel like I was able to think quickly and I didn't make many mistakes. And I was like, my brain was working well. The cylinders were flying. And then I do feel like there was a time in my pregnancy where it just became slower. And I was like, what is this? And it almost is like the feeling, what you would imagine brain fog to feel like, but it's just constant. And I honestly don't feel like I've ever recovered.
Yeah.
So my youngest is almost 8. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to everybody here, but that's why I'm so interested in this conversation is because there can be a lot of different things playing in. Like you said, as a mom, our list is nonstop. There's just so much to focus on that we have 43 tabs open in our computer brain constantly. That slows the engine down.
Right. And as the kids get older, the tabs get more and less and change and everything else.
Your point about perimenopause becoming next, it's okay, it's
great.
Sure.
I don't know if you ever, the hormones do fluctuate a lot during pregnancy, postpartum, years beyond. And then they keep, it's always changing. So it's just, yeah.
But I do feel like it's relieving to hear that mom brain is real and it's scientific.
Yes. Yeah.
It is. And then it's not even just the hormones, because the hormones are a piece of it. But we also have, there's actually a structural remodeling of your brain that takes place. So your gray matter decreases. And this is like your social cognitive areas, right? And so it's preparing you for being able to pick up on subtle cues. And so you become a little more hypervigilant. You also become, I would say, more intuitive, right? Because we're tuned into the needs of the babies, the needs of the children. This is real. So the fact that you're saying that you don't think it ever changes back is very real, because your brain now has been restructured because you're a mom. Yeah. And so now you're not only thinking about yourself, but you're thinking about the well-being of your children. And from a cellular component, you are always going to be connected. They did studies. They put these, cells in petri dishes across the country from each other. And your cells will respond to the cells of your children. Because you kind of leave, there's kind of cells that get left behind. So they will always have, I can think about my kids and I can feel them. I know when one of them is in struggle. I can get up and go, I can, it's like, I'm feeling kind of sad, but it's not my sad. And then I stop and I think, okay, which kid is it? And then usually I send a text and I'm like, all right, I woke up this morning with this overwhelming sense of grief and sadness. Which one of you is it? And they will text me and tell me which one it is. But you feel that. You're always going to be connected to your children, and your body, your brain restructured itself for that purpose, so you're not wrong.
It's just a struggle bus sometimes, but I'm excited to continue the conversation, because then how do we help it?
Okay, so helping it. First of all, is give yourself grace. Yes. You have essentially changed who you are, and you did. The life is never going to be what it used to be because you birthed these humans. or maybe you adopted humans, whatever it is. But in this case, we're talking specifically about the hormone changes that can help us from that way. But we can also, like if I adopt a newborn and I'm not sleeping, right? So disrupted sleep, that affects your REM. In the REM sleep is where memory is. So if I'm up with a newborn a number of times in the middle of the night, now I don't have, I don't have the memory recall as I would if I got a really good night's sleep. Your executive function, right? So fragmented sleeping also disrupts your ability to plan, pay attention to detail, make decisions. I can think about like when the kids are sick, right? And then now you're on guard duty. I don't know about you guys, but when my babies were sick, I did not sleep because I was on edge.
For sure. Yeah, you
right?
were listening.
You're listening, or is somebody throwing up? Do they need something? And with that, then that it continues, right? And then they get to be a little older and they start to go out.
Oh gosh.
And so maybe curfew's midnight and I didn't sleep until their bodies were in the house. If you're not sleeping well, that does affect your brain. And now you're going to bring in all of the extra duties that come in through motherhood, right? So that increases your cognitive load, right? There's schedule keepings, there's doctor's appointments, you have homework, you have meals that you want to make, you got all of the things that you need to do within the house. And then if you are working outside of the home as well, or another job in that case, I know a lot of moms that work from home, or if you are the caretaker of all things, as a stay-at-home mom would be, there's increased loads and more for you to manage, which is where the burnout can come in. Because now I start to think, I can't think. There has to be something wrong with me if I can't manage these things. And we alluded to that in one of the other podcasts, where when I talk about my story was I thought there was something wrong with me because some of that, it overwhelmed me. And it did put me in burnout because I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't handle doing all the things perfectly for everybody. There has to be something wrong with me. But you're spending your days making just thousands and thousands of micro decisions. And the brain gets fatigued. And if you didn't sleep well, then it lowers your abilities.
Yeah. And it can lead to, like anxiety and depression, like we talked about before. But, these things are common. I mean, I think that we've established that even just talking through these episodes, it's very common. And it sounds like, it is treatable. It's something that somebody can, go to, whether it's therapy, if it's like we talked about in the last episode, if it's like a past trauma kind of thing, or whether it's a coaching with you.
Yeah. And it's treatable I believe it's preventable. In that if I am understanding what is happening within my body and I can give my body the grace that it needs, and I can seek outside help, right? Resources, the support. I don't have to get to, right? So anxiety is, my mind is in the future. Depression is, it's in the past, right? So if I'm in that low vibrational state of being in the past, that's where the heavy energy comes from. That's where, if you feel a heaviness, that is depression, and that's the frequency that gets carried with that. If I'm mourning, what it was like to have that body that I had before I had the baby. If I'm anxious in a sense of I'm so worried about the future, how are these children going to turn out? Am I going to do a good enough job? Am I going to be a good enough mom? We put that pressure on us, right? You have those two things. But there are things that we can do, right? So we can reach out and ask for help. Is there somebody that you can turn to maybe so you can have a nap? Because maybe that's all it's going to take.
And that's and I feel like that's hard too, because it's like, I just need a nap, but that seems like such a little thing. Like, why would somebody just come over and take care of my kid if I just need a nap?
Because you
know
asked.
what I mean? Yeah. And I agree with you.
Right. I mean, if you ask a woman,
oh yes,
that's had children, right? I mean, you ask that, you're the grandma, right? Especially, right? She's walked not only her own children, but her grandchildren. So, can you come over so I can take a nap? She's there.
Oh, yeah. And your dishes will probably be done. The kids are going to be happy and fed.
She might have made you a meal on the way, to bring along, right?
Yes.
But it's us, right? In that we don't ask for the help. And that was me. Again, that was that belief that I had that because I was the mom, it meant that I was supposed to be able to just do it all perfectly. Yeah. And, with serving up an extra whatever my husband needed on the side. And so it was like, in the reality of it was as I needed to be able to use my voice to ask for help and have that be a safe place to be. There's things that we can do too, like, we talked before about movement, right? The importance of movement. This goes into, right? When I'm in a low energy, what I need is movement, right? Because movement brings that up. So going for a 10 or a 15-minute walk, put the baby in the stroller and just go. What you look like doesn't matter. You might have baby puke on you or whatever it is, but just get out and do that. If the weather is inclement, go to the mall. Walk around the mall with the baby in the stroller. Put your baby in a carrier. I had those fun little carriers you'd strap on. And my babies lived in the front of me for probably the first 8 months of their life.
Yeah.
I just would strap them on and whatever needed to get done, I would do. But that movement not only helped me, but it helped them because it helped soothe them. There's breath work and meditation. To me, breath work is pivotal, and I believe as a society, we just don't breathe very well anymore. We don't sit up. We don't take in good deep breaths, but it's very calming.
If you were to, because I feel like there's different definitions of breath work or meditation. So do you have kind of a quick example that if somebody's listening right now that they could try for breath work? Like I've heard of square breathing or just different areas. So what would you recommend?
The 4 count. So the square breath is really good. So it's 4 breath in, you hold at the top for 4, you exhale for 4 and hold at the bottom for 4. Box breathing is really good in just slowing your thought processes down. And there's healing breath work, right? So you're probably like trauma breath work where we release the energies that are stored in our body, which looks very, very different. There's breath work that's done through yoga, which again is going to look a little bit different, but the traditional box breathing is one that just helps you bring your thinking back into focus. Kind of like practicing the pause. Meditation, there's so many different types of meditation out there. So for me, Wayne Dyer said this, so prayer is when I talk to God. Meditation is when I still myself long enough to let God talk back to me. Mm. And that I have applied in my life over and over again, because if I am in perpetual motion, how do I listen for what God has to say to me? And it's profound, typically. It's be still and know, right, within yourself. So I do different types of meditation, but some people find that, especially if you're new to meditation, a guided meditation is nice. Right, they're quick, some things that you can do. But I like to do something I call a drop-in. This is just a quick little meditation where I sit in a chair. I take, do a few box breaths, and then I drop into my body. And when I say that, I mean it's just me listening to me. And this is a Vipassana type meditation. So you're always gonna have thoughts. You can't make them go away. But I can decide if they get to have power in that moment. And so the thought's going to come in, and I think of it like a passing cloud. So I'll be like thinking, and let it go. Or maybe I hear a sound that takes my mind somewhere else. So then I go hearing, and let it go. And so for 5 minutes, I just go within. As you're doing that, your brain waves will go down into theta. And it's in the theta brain waves where God can talk back to you. And it is profound. So I highly recommend it.
It's amazing.
Because when you are really listening to that higher self voice and knowing that there's a communication that happens between your higher self and God, and then you're listening to, what do I need? So as a mama, I need to take care of my needs. I'm more effective when I do. So taking that quick nap, making sure that you're eating good meals, practicing gratitude, right? Appreciation, being thankful, the joy, the wonder, what am I focused on?
I love those anchors that you talked about in, I believe it was episode 2.
And again, like, your Motherhood Alliance group, I'm sure there's mother support groups, right? There's women that get together to walk together. They're all pushing their kids, right? Getting out on your own, if you have that ability to, you have somebody that can provide childcare for you to go for an hour to do something on your own. Pivotal, right? I didn't use my voice to ask for that help. I did not take care of myself first. And that led me to burnout, to being on that bathroom floor, to wanting to take my life because I didn't listen. My body was screaming at me to take care of myself. And I didn't listen. Right? It was like, well, no, good moms are selfless. Good moms are self-sacrificing. Good mom, you know what? No, a good mom takes care of herself, because when a mom, takes care of herself, she's healthy. And then she's in a much better place. You cannot give something that you don't have, right? And so it's like they say, oh, you have to fill your cup. I say more than that. I say your cup needs to be overflowing, because it's from the overflow that you're able to give. And as moms, we're givers. And so I invite you to receive from that friend that says, I'll come sit with the baby, or the grandma, or whomever it is, that says, I'll come and clean your house while you snuggle your baby, instead of being concerned about the demands that need to be met, right, of housekeeping and whatever. Kind of going back to mom brain and touching on, I didn't touch on, like, your brain it becomes hypervigilant. It becomes this, like, the protective measures kick in. And so you're going to have actually these gifts that are left for you. And that being that emotional intuitiveness. It won't just be with your own children. It will be with other people around you. And that's just like the wisdom, the mom wisdom that you see. And as we move into different seasons, and we were alluding to like perimenopause and me being postmenopausal, as a woman, you start to wonder, like, well, like what's, where is my usefulness? Well, my usefulness now at 57 is to share all of the wisdom that I've gleaned through this whole journey, with other women who could benefit from it. And, that's what I'm here. I'm all about it. I want to keep moving us forward so we understand that we matter. We're worth taking care of. And, our babies are important.
Yeah. And I think that this is such an encouraging conversation because mom brain is really just the shifting of what our brain is focusing on, right? And it's okay. And it can be hard. It can be hard, but I love everything that you shared. And thank you again for sharing your story and how you've slowly been able to overcome the challenges because you've walked all of these paths that you've talked about and that you're so passionate to help other women through now too. And I know that we talked about throughout the episodes a lot of things that you have been working on and things that you offer and things that you have coming up. I know you have that mom circle that you're going to be starting. You do have your own podcast. What's the name of that again?
It's called The Secret Keepers. We talk everything from healing physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The stories are also different. I've had a few men on the podcast that talk about different things. We talk about everything from energy and frequency to God, to different healing modalities. I like to bring, just everything out there because it's not up to me, to choose how somebody heals.
And you do also offer one-on-one consults if somebody is interested in just chatting with you and seeing if you might be a good fit for them or just continuing these conversations beyond these 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for joining us, Corinne. These have been amazing.
Thank you for having me.
If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider leaving a rating or review or sharing it directly with a friend who could benefit from the information? We know that you're a busy mom or caregiver, and our goal is to make your life easier by bringing tips and tricks directly from experts into your earbuds. By sharing this episode with someone you love, you can play a critical role in helping to make their life easier as well. We appreciate your time and thank you for being a part of the Motherhood Alliance family.